have been given a D&C. They believe that would have saved her life. You're going to hear from her mother and her sisters who are going to talk about the moment by moment, the hour by hour agony, pain, and suffering that Amber endured. Attorney Harper will speak briefly. He's a Georgia lawyer and a family member. Will speak about Georgia law as well as the fact that even under Georgia law, the doctors had a duty to act to save Amber. Furthermore, she had taken the abortion pills and there were tissues left. There was no viable fetus or anything that would have prevented them from saving her life while she suffered. And you'll hear in first-hand account from her mother and her sisters about how she suffered. And we understand the judge struck down the abortion ban in the state of Georgia, and it's bittersweet for this family. They will answer your questions on that issue if you have any, but it's bittersweet for them because even though it is likely to prevent any other women in the state of Georgia for the foreseeable future being put in peril as Amber was, but it wasn't in place to save Amber's life. And as one of their family members said, it's like getting a death row pardon 2 years too late. Amber's gone. And so they are trying to get justice for her, but also trying to talk about having an Amber's Law, how you can prevent this from happening to any other woman. And finally, it is not lost on us the Georgia black women maternal issues that exist, that black women are twice as likely to die than white women during pregnancies and complications. Many believe that issue is just as relevant as any issues we're talking about with the abortion bans in the state of Georgia. We need to be talking also about black women maternal health rates in the state of Georgia and whether that had anything to do with them not treating Amber for not 1 hour, not 2 hours, not 3 hours, but 20 hours she is suffering. And they tell the family nothing. They tell the family nothing about what's going on. And you're going to hear her mother talk about how she kept trying to reassure Amber that the doctors are going to help you. They're going to take care of you because she trusted them. She trusted them. And now she feels regret about trusting them because they betrayed her trust. And so this is about justice for Amber Thurman. A lot of issues going on, a lot of political issues, but we shouldn't put politics above the person. Amber was loved. Amber life mattered. This is about justice for Amber Thurman. You will hear from attorney Michael Harper, and then we will introduce you to the family to let them tell their story. Attorney Harper.
Thank you. I want to be very clear about the Georgia law in this case. and the Georgia heartbeat law in particular. Every proponent of the Georgia heartbeat law would say that the law itself did not kill Amber Thurman. The Georgia heartbeat law allows for two exceptions that would have applied in this case. One is a medical emergency, which is based on the life of the mother being in jeopardy. And two, you don't have a viable fetus. When Amber Thurman went to the hospital there was no heartbeat to detect. There was no viable fetus. There was no reason for these doctors to have any kind of complication or issue as to what to do next. The law would have allowed them to immediately perform surgery on Ms. Thurman, the DNC procedure, and saved her life. There are a lot of political issues here, but as far as the Georgia law is concerned, let us be clear. Under the Georgia heartbeat law, her life still should have been saved. They still should have operated because she fell under those two vital exceptions. Thank you.
Thank you, Attorney Harper. And so we're also announcing we fully plan to explore every legal avenue to get justice for Amber Thurman. We think when you boil all of this down, this comes down to medical malpractice. They were negligent in letting her lay on that hospital bed and cry and vomit and turn blue for 20 hours and never told her mother, who was there, never told her mother what was going on, that they were having second thoughts whether they're going to treat her or not. They never said anything like that because her mother and sister said, we would have taken her somewhere else had we known. We're still waiting for the medical records to be released because those medical records are going to be important to ascertain what were the issues why they did not save this young black mother who could have been saved. Could have been saved. And so you're going to hear from her broken-hearted mother, who's going to, as best she can, tell her truths, Miss Shanette Williams, the mother of Amber Thurman.
This is my result after August the 19th, 2022. It is so disheartening. It is heartbreaking. It is upsetting. Every emotion that you could think that a mother would have, I have it. I had no clue what I was walking into on August the 19th. Had I known that this would be my result, I wouldn't have believed it. When I walked into that hospital, I had doctors to meet me, to reassure me, to make me feel like they had my baby's best interest at heart. When I got to my child, she began to tell me about the pain, about how she was feeling. And I reassured her that she was in the best hands, that the people that were there, they were going to take good care of her. She kept emphasizing to me the pain, me not understanding. She was giving me instructions. When she began to cry, I knew that this was serious because my baby was a strong person. And for her to cry, the only thing I did was wipe tears and told her they were going to take good care of her. Not even knowing, not even understanding the depths of what was really going on. All I knew was she was there, they were going to help her, and when this was over, that I was going to be in her room waiting. And when I found out with the world that this was preventable, that wound that has never healed has reopened wider. I want to understand this. I want to know why. Because as her mom, this is the hardest thing. Her daddy is suffering. Let's not even mention her son, the family. Amber was loved. And as Attorney Crump said, we would have done anything had we known. But we didn't. We didn't have the opportunity to know. And this is the result.
And that's why we continue to fight to get justice for Amber, so no other mother has to suffer what Shanette has been suffering, going through, see psychologists to deal with the mental anguish, the regret that she kept telling her daughter, trust them, trust them. You're going to hear from her sister, CJ, now, who was FaceTiming with her while she was in the hospital bed to tell you what happened from her perspective. And she is very emotional, and she certainly hasn't held back about her feelings. And CJ, we want you to know that we stand with you.
You know, just the other day, I saw something funny, and without even thinking about what's going on, I picked up my phone and I said, let me text Amber. And then I went to her contact and I say, Amber is not even here. You can't call her. I can't call her. I can't text her. I can't do any of that. She can't pop up at my house anymore like the little sister always does, because she's gone. She's gone because they allowed her to suffer. My baby sister was in pain, and I know that she was in pain. She FaceTimed me right before she went into surgery, 20 hours later, when she had been there for so long. And she looked at me. I said, Amber, why you so blue? Mind you, my sister was very, very light. I said, Amber, why you so blue? She said, oh, I just threw up again. I just passed out again, passing out, hitting her head. She had bruises and all over her face. She was literally blue. And I said, well, don't worry. They're going to take care of you. They're getting ready to do surgery. So just let them, get it over with. But I believe that my sister knew, and she felt that she was dying right then and there, because she literally looked at me. And I looked at her. She looked deep in my soul. And to this day, that face, that look, it haunts me every day when I'm going to sleep at night, when I'm at a function, if I'm out to eat. I always see that face, and I always see her just looking at me like, and she was in so much pain. And I know that she was in pain. You can tell she was in pain, and they did nothing. I'm angry. I'm beyond heartbroken. This has sent me down a very dark path that I constantly have to pull myself out of every single day. And I understand that now, they're trying to do something about it, but my sister is gone. I would hate for this to happen to another mother, daughter, sister, cousin, aunt. But Amber is gone. Did she really have to be the sacrifice? I feel like she had to be the sacrifice for the greater good. It hurts so bad because this could have been prevented. And somebody has to be held accountable.
Yes.
Because my little sister is gone. I can't call her and say, hey, Amber, did you see this, or did you see the last episode of the show, or whatever. Things that we like to do as siblings. She loved for me to make her jerk shrimp. I can't make that for her anymore. I almost don't even like making them no more, to be honest. My little nephew, asking why did they take my best friend. Ask them, why did they take my best friend? And basically traumatized because his mom, his best friend, someone who he was with every single day, is gone. And he's a very intelligent little boy, so he knows what's going on. He told me to ask, why did they take my best friend? I'm sorry, he told my mom to ask, why did they take his best friend? But it's no coming back. And we want justice. We're going to get justice for Amber.
Justice for Amber. Thank you, CJ. And you're going to hear from her other sister in just a moment. But, I mean, so many things are heartbreaking about this. Amber was raising her son. She wanted to be a nurse. And, Miss Jeanette, you want to tell about what happened a week after she passed? She was...
On August the 22nd, I received the phone call from the nursing school. They wanted to talk to Amber, and they wanted to inform her that she was accepted into nursing school. And that was so heartbreaking because I had to tell them, she's not here. And the only thing they said was, wow, she'd worked hard for this. And now that dream is shattered.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ms. Jeanette. I just know when you said that previously, it struck because they talked about how Amber was working hard to give her and her son a better life. She was trying to do the right things. She was going to school to be a nurse so her son could have a better life. Very heartbreaking. You're here now from her sister, Andrika Thurman, who also was on the phone with Amber. Andrika.
My sister, she was the light of the family. She was smart, and even more, she was a mother. My sister, she took care of my nephew to no end. She made sure he didn't go without. So just imagine, on the day that my sister passed away, having to tell her son that he won't ever get to see her again. Imagine how that feels. Imagine how me talking to my nephew, and he asked me, TT, are we gonna see my mom? Can we go see my mom? And I have to tell him, we can't see her, but we can feel her in our heart because she's not here. I have to look in my nephew's face knowing that his mother suffered for 20 hours for something that could have been prevented. And she would be here with him today, taking him to school, going to his award ceremonies, and doing things that a mother would do. So just imagine not being able to do that with your children. Imagine not being able to hold your children. How would that feel? And to know that the hospital could have did something and did nothing. I'm on the phone with my sister and she's turning blue. And I'm also reassuring her with my mother and sister that they're going to do what they can and that we're going to see her after surgery. But imagine getting a phone call and it's the opposite, that she's no longer here. Imagine going to the hospital and the last thing you see is your sister laying on a bed lifeless. Just imagine how that feels. Put yourself in our position. Just put yourself there just for a second and imagine how that feels.
Thank you very much, Andrika. Thank you all for sharing your stories. And as Attorney Harper and Attorney Parks and I articulated, we believe that there was nothing preventing these doctors from acting. And that's why we intend to bring a medical malpractice claim on behalf of her family and on behalf of her son, specifically, because if they just would have told them, there's so many things they could, if they just would have told them, obviously you could have saved their life, but if you weren't going to save her life, why didn't you just tell them? So at least they can have a choice to say, well, let's take her somewhere where she can get help. They trusted them. They knew, the doctors knew that she had these tissues inside her body that was causing an infection. They knew it. But they did not inform her family of what was going on. And so what they're doing in telling Amber's story, they're really talking to families all across America. If we don't do something about this, this could be your family's reality too. And that's why we have to get justice for Amber in what we believe will be a landmark case. At this time, we will try to answer some of your questions if you have any.
I've got one.
Please.
Okay, first for you, do you have the EMTALA report? Did you get a copy?
No, we do not have it. We believe we're about to get the medical records.
Okay, because the EMTALA will show you what the feds found, right?
Yes, ma'am. And I understand they may have congressional hearings on that matter, specifically talking about Amber.
Okay. Let me ask family members, what are your thoughts? I mean, doctors take this Hippocratic oath, right? They're supposed to do no harm. They're supposed to do everything to help you. And yet it seems like in this case, that did not take place. They watched her suffer for 20 hours while they discussed, can we do this or can we not do this?
We'll let CJ go first and then see if her mother or sister.
I'm furious, because you were sworn in. We trusted you. You're supposed to protect. You're supposed to care for. That's what you took an oath to do. That did not happen in Amber's case. So, of course, we're furious. We're angry. I mean, everything under the sun that you can think of, we feel every emotion.
What were the doctors saying? Did they say why it was taking so long? I'm sure you guys
Miss Jeanette was there.
I never asked questions. The whole time I was there, it was about making sure that my baby was okay, allowing her to know I'm here and I'm gonna be here. None of this ran through my mind, none of it. The only thing I was concerned about is getting her through whatever it was, the surgery, whatever it was, and being here when she came out.
As you know, studies have shown not only with maternal rates, with especially African Americans, but minorities in general, but there have been other studies that show black people especially are treated differently at hospitals. They're not treated as well. Do you believe that came to play in this case?
That is an issue that we're fully investigating. It has not been lost on us, the issues with black women maternity rates in the state of Georgia. Obviously, this is a question that many of her family members have asked, but we're going to get to the answer one way or the other. We want those medical records. We want to know what did they put in those medical records as to why they did not prevent this young, beautiful black woman from dying while she was on their bed in their care. And that's the tragedy of it all. She wasn't home. They didn't turn her away. She was there in their hospital bed. They had diagnosed her. They knew what was going on. All they had to do was say, we have an oath to save this woman's life, and we're going to do it. Or at the very least, to tell her mother, who was right there, that we're not going to help your daughter.
But as Mr. Harper said, by that heartbeat law, even within that very restrictive law, they have the option to do this surgery by law. Why were they so confused about that?
And that's troubling, and that's why we're bringing a legal action. Attorney Harper and Attorney Park, we want to look at those medical records because we don't think there is any excuse they can offer this family as to why they did not act to save her life when she was suffering. I mean, when her sisters got on the phone, you're thinking if they have an ounce of humanity, an ounce of bedside manners, that they would say, we got to help this poor lady. Why they didn't do that?
And the law was extremely clear. To reiterate your question, back to my earlier point, the law was clear.
Mr. Harper, if you could step to the
There should have been no confusion with these doctors. Just to reiterate that point, the exceptions under the current heartbeat bill, Governor Kemp would agree with us that the doctors could have and should have acted. It was a medical emergency, and there was no viable pregnancy. At that point, there was fetal tissue that was infecting Amber Thurman. They had an obligation, and under the law, the heartbeat law, they could have gone in, removed that tissue, and saved her life. So there's no excuse here.
Why were they confused?
Well,
That we have to find out with the medical records.
I will say this. Society seems to not fully understand these abortion bans. Doctors may articulate that they don't understand them. But as Attorney Harper and Attorney Park have been articulating, there was no viable fetus. That wasn't any issue. So why they didn't save Amber Thurman's life is beyond our understanding. And that's why a Georgia jury has to address this issue. That's why we need to have a congressional inquiry into whether they violated the EMTELA federal law, because the blood is on their hands. And if we don't get to the truth of what happened to Amber Thurman, the blood is on all of our hands. Any other questions? We will keep you all informed, obviously.
I would just love the correct spelling of everyone's name again.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Shanette, that is SHANETTE Williams. WILLIAMS.
Joanna CJAUNA Williams.
Could you go by PC?
CJ.
CJ.
C is in cat, J is in Johnny.
And Andrika, ANDRIKA Thurman, THURMAN.
I haven't spoken. I'm an attorney with Ben Crump. My name is Liza, Liza Park, PARK.
I think you have Mom Michael Harper, MICHAELHARPER.
And Ben, you mentioned he was family.
Yeah, I'm also, exactly, yeah. I'm a Georgia lawyer here, but I am family with the family of Amber Thurman. Yes.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah. I will say this, y'all. This court ruling brings deeper questions. And there are women who are in Amber's situation right now today in Georgia and all across America. This can't be about politics when you have a life at stake. To Governor Kemp, to everybody who has children, think about if this was your child. This has to be bigger than politics. This young mother should be here today. Amber should be here today.
It's so hard to fathom watching someone just suffer and the doctor
For 20 hours.
Did the nurses come in and check on her? Did they say anything?
They came in to check.
They never said anything?
They never said anything.
They just checked her vitals and kept it moving?
Her OBGYN